I absolutely love Half-Life, especially Half-Life 2. I didn't even start playing Half-Life when it was like relevant. Like, I mean, come on, when this game came out, I was like just a baby in a diaper, not even a year old. And even when Half-Life 2 came out, yeah, I was probably a more conscious child, but we didn't have computers to run that. I didn't end up discovering Half-Life 2 until so many years after it came out, like probably almost 10 years after its initial release in 2004. And like really the only way I found out about it was through a similar way that most people my age would have found out about it. The funny Gmod man. I think I played Gmod in something like 2008, maybe 2009. But thanks to Gmod, I really quickly found out about Source games and like Half-Life 2 and the original Half-Life and all that stuff. And it was just this deep rabbit hole that I would end up going down for years and years and years to come. It's honestly crazy to me that this game came out in 2004 because it's such an insanely really good game with so many like crazy features for the time that you would almost think it was more like a mid-2000s, like late 2000s title, but no, this was 2004, man. So needless to say, I owe Half-Life 2 and even Half-Life by extension a lot because there's just been thousands and thousands and thousands of hours dumped into Gmod, Team Fortress 2, Portal, Counter-Strike, Source. Oh, we can't forget Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2. Recently, Half-Life 2 celebrated its 20th anniversary, which is kind of crazy. And in that time, a lot of people started like doing stuff with Half-Life 2. I mean, there's always been people doing stuff with Half-Life 2. Like, think of how many memes you see with like Half-Life and Half-Life 2 noises in them. It's crazy. I never even thought that such things would be so commonplace even 5 years ago. But amidst all the excitement going on around the 20th anniversary of Half-Life 2, a user by the name of Z2K Retro Gaming actually went and did something kind of cool. They decided to try and run Half-Life 2, like an old version of the game, much like this one, on what would have been considered minimum spec hardware. Of course, his system wasn't quite minimum spec, but you know what, it was close enough. But it still left me wondering what would happen if you ran Half-Life 2 on the actual, real, barest of bare official minimum specs. So we're talking 1.2 gigahertz processor, built-in sound card versus a dedicated sound card, because keep in mind, at this time, actually having a sound card could net you some extra frames. Not that many, but still a little bit, because it was less overhead on the CPU to have a actual dedicated sound card processing all the sounds. I'm pretty sure he also used something like a GeForce MX460 or MX440 in a Quadro flavor. So again, that's like a really sort of high-end DX7 card. What if we had gone to the bottom of the barrel? What would that look like, right? I had big aspirations to put together a two-part video where I would build out the system and then we would actually run Half-Life 2, and it was going to be great and amazing, and like all my other plans, it kind of fell through, like big time. Perhaps I will revisit the idea of still building said system at least, because if you can tell, it's going to be pretty cool. As my plan had fallen through though, and I had a lot more time to think about it, I honestly don't think it would have been that interesting. The system that I had in mind wasn't that far off from what Z2K Retro Gaming had made. Sure, it was older and it was going to use even slower memory, but I think the experience would have been still relatively similar, and there's no point in really, you know, doing something that's already been done unless you can do it better. So if that is something you want to see, the actual official bare minimum spec system to run Half-Life 2, let me know, because it might still be possible in the future, but that's actually not what's going to happen in this video today. If you remember from my last video about that 486 Compact, a couple weekends ago I did pick up 3 computers, one of them for free, which was the Compact, and 2 of them that I had to buy, and part of that little purchase bundle was this cute little thing. This is an IBM Aptiva of some sort. I don't really know actually what model it is. And when I saw this thing, I knew right away I had to have it. I love this thing. I mean, come on. Look at how tiny it is compared to that full tower. It's adorable. But the other thing that really caught my eye about it was this sticker right here. AMD Duron processor. Obviously what I have on my hands here is about the earliest form of a computer that I would pay for, simply because this was made from basically around the same time as the parts from my very first PC ever. This is basically my introduction to computing, or rather, this era of computing is my introduction to computers. This computer came out at a time when computers were really, really rapidly evolving. The exact date this computer was made is not really known, but what I can tell you is just from looking around the parts inside, it was sometime in August or July of 2000. Just like a year later, maybe even two, the Pentium 4 would come out, and so would the Athlon XP, and it would absolutely decimate this computer in performance. But the other really interesting thing about this little time frame of computing, the early 2000s, is that just because this system was obsolete probably by the time it had rolled out the production floor, did not necessarily mean that it was a slow piece of garbage and you couldn't use it for anything. And so you would see systems like this be commonplace for quite a while because they still function relatively well enough. So while this is obviously targeted for budget home users, this is by no means a powerhouse at all, it still wouldn't have been an insignificant purchase for the time, so likely whoever had this held on to it for quite a while because, well, it still worked perfectly fine for several years after the fact. So basically what I'm getting at is that by 2004, this still would have been a commonplace computer. There still would have been tons of people using these old early 2000s budget computers. And I'll tell you right now, most of this system does not even meet the minimum system requirements for Half-Life 2. But let's look them over real quick just to be sure. In July 12th of 2004, Gabe Newell himself publicly came out and revealed the hardware requirements for Half-Life 2 not too long before its release, just a couple months later in the fall. Gabe Newell said, quote, "The minimum spec would be a 1.2 GHz powered PC with 256 megabytes of RAM, Windows 98, Windows ME, Windows 2000, and Windows XP, and a DirectX 7 compatible graphics card." So how do these minimum specs compare against this IBM Aptiva? Well, the CPU is a 750 MHz AMD Duron, so right then and there we are already below the minimum CPU requirement. The operating system is Windows 98 SE, so we're good there. The GPU that actually came with this system was an S3 Savage 4 Pro GPU of some sort, and from what I've been told, this is a really sad and cut down version of a regular Savage 4 Pro. Actually, I think this is the world's first AGP4X GPU too, yet this specific one only operates at AGP2X. Oh, and it only has like 4 megabytes of RAM, which even by 2000 was kinda not great. So I'm not gonna bother with this because trying to get this card to work is not impossible, but just look at the thumbnail for this video from a much more popular and relevant YouTuber. Do you think if I have half the amount of VRAM that he has, we're gonna get this going in any capacity? Probably not. And that's where period correct upgrades come to the rescue. The video card that's actually in here right now is a DirectX 7 graphics card, but by no means is it a fast or even kind of decent DirectX 7 graphics card. It's kind of a notoriously not bad, but very controversial one. It is none other than the legendary GeForce 2 MX400. Careful consideration was taken when setting up the RAM. You see, a user of a computer like this would probably not be able to afford to have a lot of like fast and high capacity memory sticks in their system. Even by 2004, memory was still kind of expensive, so it's most likely that in order to get to whatever amount of memory that they needed to run this game, they would have just slapped in any old memory sticks they could have found for cheap and from any old PC. As such, there are 3 64 megabyte mismatched SD RAM sticks in here, making for a total of 192 megabytes of technically PC 100 SD RAM. The original hard drive that would have come in this system was a supposedly 15 gigabyte Quantum Fireball, though in Windows it only shows something like 12.7. But I swapped it out temporarily for a 6 gigabyte WD Caviar from 1998, and boy is this thing absolutely loud. So let's recap. A 750 megahertz AMD Duron, which was already a budget processor at the time that this computer came out, 192 megabytes of PC 100 SD RAM, a 6 gigabyte WD Caviar of some sort from 1998, and a GeForce 2 MX400 DirectX 7 sort of middle of DX7 era graphics card. Oh, and let's not forget, onboard sound. Well, according to the official minimum Half-Life 2 specs, this thing doesn't qualify. It doesn't cut it, and in the best of cases, it is in the absolute lowest of low for the minimum system requirements. And that's why this system really spoke to me for this silly little video idea, because this is, by all means, at the time, even in 2004, would have been a pretty common budget machine. So it wouldn't have been unreasonable to try and at least see if Half-Life 2 could run on your little budget computer from just a couple years ago. You would have known damn well that it wasn't going to run nicely, but if you could at least experience it until you could afford to get enough money to really build something better, then that would have been absolutely better than nothing. So let's see, how does Half-Life 2 run on something that is well below the minimum system requirements? Alright, so we're here in Windows 98, and I'm probably going to change just a few settings real quick, like we don't need active desktop, and 1024 by 768, let's maybe do 800 by 600. Alright, so I set the refresh rate to 60 Hertz. Doesn't look good for me, but it'll look good enough for you through the camera. There's not going to be really any strobing and stuff, or at least as much. So without further ado, let's start Half-Life 2. And there we go, we're on the menu. So for video, I feel like 640 by 480 is the move here. The video settings are going to be really interesting to mess with. I don't know what we can and can't do. So I'm probably going to set by putting everything to low first. I don't know if I want to start a new game. Should we start a new game? Oh, everything is just unlocked for us. Okay, well, what if we do... you know what? Let's start from the beginning.
Rise and shine, Mr. Freeman. Rise and shine. Not that I wish to imply you have been sleeping on the job. No one is more deserving of a rest, and all the effort in the world would have gone to waste until, well, let's just say your hour has come in.
That's pretty slow. But you know what? It still looks kind of decent. Honestly. That's actually not that bad, just in terms of visuals. But how about performance? Oh my god. Wow. You watch the stuff fading in and out of the LOD there. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this is definitely laggy to say the least. But it still looks decent.
Welcome. Welcome to the city.
Oh my god.
You have chosen or been chosen to submit to one of our finest remaining
It's all I have left.
Wow. I'm curious as to what our frame rate is here. Oh my god, under 10 FPS. If we look at the floor, we get like at best 14. I wouldn't exactly say it's oh my god, he just walked right through that.
Passing through on your way to parts unknown.
Oh my goodness.
Welcome to City 17.
So right off the bat, using just the in-game like graphic settings and stuff, there's not really anything we can do to make the frame rate better. This is just the absolute worst of the worst. But what if we did try and mess with some graphical settings real quick? So I did experiment with a couple commands, including disabling ragdoll collisions, disabling physics props, changing the LOD down to 5, removing shadows, and even changing the DirectX level to 6 instead of 7. I don't know if that's accurately reflected here now. Yep. Whoops. 6 right there. And it gained us a couple of FPS, but it's still really bad. It's obvious that those minimum specs were chosen pretty carefully because this thing is definitely struggling. And I know for a fact that this video card can definitely do... Oh my god. They look like creatures. What? Oh my god. Oh. Where's Barney? Oh my god. Everything's... Okay. Let's see how this part works.
I'm gonna need me some privacy for this.
About that beer.
Oh my god.
Gordon, Barney from Black Mesa. Hey, sorry for the scare.
Hey, it's actually running really good now. What?
I've been working
20
on
FPS.
Civil protection.
Oh.
It can't take too long or they'll get suspicious.
It's actually not that bad in this room.
Eating quota.
And it's back down to being low again. Oh my god, Kleiner!
Sorry, Doc.
Kleiner looks like a funny Austrian painter. Oh, he's not even...
You and me both, Doc. He was about to board the express to Nova Prospect.
What's wrong with your eyes?
I'm thinking.
Kleiner's just not saying anything. I don't know if that's an issue with, like, corrupt files, or...
As long as he stays away from check.
Let's see what City 17 looks like. Oh my god. Okay, I thought I disabled physics props. Whoa, 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 whoa. Chill, bro. Alright, here we go. City 17. Oh my god. Nice. A solid 5, 6 FPS. What is... Oh my god, look at the trees! I thought it was like leaves or something. I don't know. I don't know why I thought like it was like leaves moving or something. No, it's just struggling sadness. Well, it's very obvious, as I've been saying, that Half-Life 2 really does not want to run very nicely on anything below the minimum spec. Though it is possible. If I wanted to go crazy, I probably could get this to run a little bit better. As a matter of fact, let's go all out. I'll see you guys in just a minute. We're gonna give this one last chance. We are going to run this with like the most crusty potato graphic settings commands I can find. Well, even making Half-Life 2 look like a PS1 horror game doesn't seem to really improve the frame rates. Wow. This is kind of crazy. Oh my goodness. when it has to calculate physics. Oh, it's rough. Move along? Alright, we're gonna go this way. Like, I don't even, like, half recognize this because of how... Oh god, it's loading. Anyway, doing this actually makes me want to see... Oh my goodness. That's so rough. Doing this actually makes me want to see now, how would it run on a true official minimum spec system? Because with any luck, hopefully sometime soon within the next month. Oh my god. I should actually have a system that ticks off all the boxes. 1.2 gigahertz processor, SD RAM. We could use this same video card out of the IBM here, the GeForce 2 MX 400. Windows 98 SE, of course, to keep it as minimum spec as possible. And of course, onboard audio, not a dedicated sound chip. Oh. Oh. We're loading again. Anyways, I don't really have much else to say about this this whole thing, other than kind of a goofy but failed experiment. I honestly expected it to run a little bit better than it did, but either way, if you guys want to see the actual true official minimum spec Half-Life 2 build, let me know, because with any luck, as I said, in about a month or less, I should be able to put that together, assuming I don't get screwed over again. You can't even see where, like, who's shooting at you. Where's the Metro cop?